I have a little bit of a different video for you today. Not normal for the purpose of my channel, but I thought that for those of you who have the ability and the desire to reduce your electrical use, that you might like to watch this. So sit back and I'll show you how I installed this instant hot water heater. Here's my hot water tank. It sprung a leak. And as usual, I do my research. Now, it's just me here. I have to draw a sink full of hot water once or twice a week to wash the dishes. And 3 times a week to get a shower. I don't use much hot water. When I done my research, I found that perhaps half of the electricity use in this house goes to this thing. So I went with this. We'll unbox this now and we'll both get to see what this thing looks like. So here's the box it comes in, an EcoTouch instant hot water heater. It says efficient energy savings, smart self-modulating, endless hot water, compact design. These things will only run when the water is flowing through it, whereas this is keeping 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. So here's what it looks like. You've got your cold water inlet, and then the hot water comes out this side. Always save your plumbing pieces. Or anything. This is one of those things where, do I need it, do I not? And you have, as a homesteader, what they call an organized boneyard. So I have a box with plumbing pieces in, and this is the proper connector thing that you run your 1/2-inch pipe into. There is no other side to this. And they fit perfectly. And on the back, this wiring is a little different. I'm assuming I'll read the directions, but red in this coloring, red is usually your live, black would be the return, and green would be the ground. Now to move this thing out of my way, I've already emptied the water out of it through its drain valve right there. And here's your incoming wire. Now you want to make sure that's turned off. You want your breaker box to be labeled. I've got hot water. You see, you got a join between what looks to be 2 breakers. So they're hooked in series, and it's an incoming breaker. So we got 120 volts, 120 volts. Combine them together, you got 240 volts. On this breaker box, when it's pushed toward the outside of the breaker box, the breaker is turned off. So we have no power running to the hot water tank. So here's our wire coming in. Comes here. You've got the bare wire here, which is your ground. The black wire is your return, and your white wire is the live. My first task is to loosen this out here so that I can get the wire out when I take off the other part. Now, loosen all the screws. As I said, we made sure there was no power I've been shocked by 120 volts before, but I do not want to get shocked by 240 for sure. There, that's out. Now, when I put things together, I always put it together so that I can easily take it apart if I need to. Hence the reason for this connector. You see the pipes on these, the inlet is much bigger than what's on the instant water heater. So now I can get it out of the way. They're not extremely heavy, but they are quite a bit heavier than, say, a deep freezer. It was put on a platform so that if I had to drain it someday, I could actually drain it completely. Now, we'll mount this right on the wall like this. Question is, yeah, I have thousands of wire, so I can put this basically wherever I want. Hoping I have enough torch power to do this. So you warm these up and it'll remelt the solder and you can take them off. The other bit of knowledge you need to know for doing this stuff, you need this acid paste flux. When you open it up, it looks like Vaseline. What that does, causes the solder, instead of just beating up and dropping away, it causes it to flow like almost like water, and it'll track in between the pipe and your connector because of the heat. Now, rather than having it down, to make sure it can easily flow, I'll put it sideways. Now, as you've seen, this didn't go on very well because of the old solder that's on there. Okay, once it gets hot, I'll knock it the rest of the way on. So I'll take some of this flux, put all the way around there. I'll also put some inside the connector that I'm putting on. Of course, make sure I got this on first because I won't be able to get it on afterwards. Now, since this is the piece that came off of the hot water tank, and it already has this side on it, I'm going to cut this off just enough so that I can put an elbow on it, and then they will connect together like so. And this will go into the instant hot water heater. There's a tool made for everything, and while you could cut these with, say, hacksaw, one of these tools will do much nicer. And you'll see why once I get it cut. Turn around, tight it, turn again, tight it more. Thing is, you got to turn them back and forth because they walk down the pipe on you. Now you can see the end of the pipe, it's turned in, so that when you put your connections on, they slide on easy. If you did that with an hacksaw, it would be much more difficult to get your other connections on. Now that I have these two pieces made, we'll check the instructions and find out how it mounts onto the wall. These are the connectors. You mount them on the wall like that, so this part is standing off from the wall, and then on the back you have that, so there, when you hang it, that piece will slide up like that. Hold on, just forgive me. Yep. They're both hanging in place. There, it's on the wall. There was a join right here, so I separated, took off the pipe and made this. Now I didn't have an elbow, so I've got a T. I did have end caps, so I put a T in here and put this little piece out here with the end cap, and we go down, across and up. So now there's a join that can easily be separated. Like that. I'm going to put the thread tape on this and put it back together as well as up here, so this piece can be completely disconnected without having to take out the solder. And then the hot water comes out, goes up and back to the house. You have to slowly turn this valve back on up here and see if we have any leaks. So it's leaking on these, which I was expecting, and on this one. None of the soldering joins are leaking, so that's excellent. Now I don't have a leak. The instructions that came with this was saying use the seals for the inside of here, which I had put in, and I didn't put the thread tape on the threads in here. So I put thread tape on here and that fixed the leaks. Now I have to turn on this valve, and I'll go upstairs and run the air out of the line. All the air out of the lines. So now the last thing to do is connect the electricity. There's several ways of connecting up electrical wiring, but I have these Mara connectors. Technically, you should have a black one for the black wire, a red or white one for the white or red wire, and a green or yellow one for ground. But I only have black. And these aren't my favorite. I like the ones you can push the wire in and just twist the whole thing. These has a little thing in here and a set screw that's a flat screw. So you have to make sure your set screw is a long ways out. Now, regulations say that when you're doing these kind of connections, you have to put it in one of these connection boxes. I checked the instructions, and the red and black, as I suspected, was your electrical wires, and the green is the ground. So I'll put the red and the white together. And see, the wires coming from the heater is multi-strand, so I had to make sure I get them in. Now they're both in there. Tighten down that set screw until it's in there tight, they don't come out. There. That's that one, and I'll do the other two, and we'll be ready to go. There, they're connected. Red to white, black to black, green to bare. Now let's go turn the power on. Cross your fingers. No explosions. That's a good sign. So it's showing up like this. Here's our power button. And it's on 84 degrees Fahrenheit. 51 is what the temperature is now. Okay, you'll have to excuse the pump running because apparently I have to have water running through it to set the temperature. And okay, it's warming up here now. This is actual temperature, and now it says set temperature. So when it's on set temperature, I can set it all the way up. It should go up to 116. No, it goes up to 1. Okay, now according to my research, higher than 125 degrees Fahrenheit can cause scalds and burns. So this should not be put above 120. So now this is set on 120, but it only has a certain capability. So if the water is too cold coming in, it may not be able to get it up to 120 if I'm trying to draw it out too fast. I would have to slow down the water. The colder the water is, the slower you would have to put it through this heater to get it to your desired temperature. Right now I got actual temperature of 110. So that should be pretty warm. I don't have the water running very fast. So let's go upstairs now and see. Now have this going full speed. And I tested it out both by controlling the inlet water from this valve, restricting the outlet from this valve, and restricting the outlet by slowing down the tap upstairs. I found that restricting the inflow is best. Now you can see the temperature is 67 degrees here because the water coming from my well is 42 degrees, and this don't have enough power to bring 42 degrees up to temperature at 1.8 gallons per minute. So I have to turn down this valve. And as I turn it down, we'll watch the temperature. See the temperature's going up now? Oh, I've got it turned down too slow. See, 131, this is the highest that this thing is rated for. You can only put it up to 131. However, to get it that high, I have the water flowing in at 0.5 gallons per minute, and that is the cutoff. If there's any wavering in the water pressure at all, then this will drop below 0.5 gallons and the water heater will cut out. So I will have to open it back up a bit from there. I can get a shower with this. I need to get one of those water saver shower heads to get a proper shower. I am quite pleased. This is, in my opinion, doing more than what I just said it would do. There's one thing, it's not instant. When you turn this on, then it does take a couple minutes for this heater to warm up before you get your hot water. You can get 12 and 18 kilowatt versions of this. If I add the 18 kilowatt, I'd be able to put it through at 2 gallons per minute, no problem. This is going to save me a lot of electricity. If you're someone that uses a lot of hot water, however, you're better off staying with the hot water tank. Because a hot water tank is 5.5 kilowatts and you will need an 18 kilowatt heater running often to get the same as you will get from a 5.5 kilowatt if you're using a lot of hot water. So that's the installation of the hot water tank. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button for me and I'll see you in the next video.